events will be more frequent and intense in the coming decades. Um, why are we afraid, or why we care more about heat waves? Because they are associated with increased hospital admissions and death due to CVS diseases, kidney and respiratory disorders. Places with aging population and increased urbanization are projected to increase the vulnerability of urban populations to heat-related health impacts in the future. The effect of milder winters will help to reduce harms associated with cold and snow, but the impact does not cancel out the effect of health-related illnesses. Okay, so let's take, for example, one study once discussed the estimated health effects from the U.S. coal-fired power plant emissions. The study was made in 2010 by the Climate Task Force. Estimated that the U.S. on annual basis from the air pollution that comes from these plants, they caused 13,000 premature deaths, 20,000 heart attacks, 1.6 million lost work days. That means that if you're not aware of those terms of the lost work days, those are the ones that someone is absent from going to work because he's ill. This by most affects the national GDP or the global production. So climate change in 2017 in Katrina crisis almost caused 226 billion losses dollars in economic losses. This is this slide that is showing the economic costs of health impacts. This is in Europe, because I was mentioning US earlier. The ones who are causing the drastic effects of climate changes are the ones with the most advanced economies and the most advanced industries, because they contribute the most in carbon emissions. So the effects of climate change, apart from the temperature extremes, they also cause floods, they cause wildfires, they cause air pollution because of the ozone depletion and all. They also affect food and crops and agriculture in too many ways. As for the pollens, they have longer growing seasons. Means that there are more pollen, and those are allergic. We're gonna like sympathize with them as they have more allergy rates. Climate change threatens our food security, which means that famines can happen and people can go hungry. Also, it changed the disease carried by vectors like mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are expected to grow more in hot weathers. Also, on the mental and the psychological side, they cause more stress-related disorders and more likely to cause food and waterborne diarrheal diseases. Also, and in an indirect way, climate change or increased heat, they damage chemical pipelines and storage places, causing more chemical exposure. When rivers and water sources are exposed to drought, thus the contaminants of water and soil increase, causing further diseases. Not only that, but impacts on your work when you're not feeling well or you're not in a good condition. We're feeling flu or so, you take days off. What about cancers, and what about more advanced diseases? This could may lead you to increase use of emergency services, make hospital crowding further, contributing to infections, and if you have like these infective diseases, you're likely to transmit more diseases. Also, the costs of being admitted in a hospital or costs of medicine is a bit costly. So this will gonna increase the monetary and other costs, which is eventually gonna end up in a disaster fatigue. Also, in some parts of the world, some health inequity happens. They do not consider those who are vulnerable to the effects of climate change, like people of color, immigrant groups, children, pregnant people, women, older adults. Older adults have this decreased physical activities, which leads, and also have some comorbidities like high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney diseases, and metabolic diseases. And also they cannot move very well. They have low physical fitness, which exacerbate the effects of heat load. So they're very susceptible to heat and also diseases caused by climate change. It is a very complex phenomena, and if we're gonna estimate the lots of diseases caused by the climate change, it's drastic. Take for example that number of climate-related disasters has tripled in the last 30 years. More than 20 million people affected with the effects of climate change, and it will continue to put increased demand on health services, which further will cause eventually the fall of these facilities. We hope we're not right about these estimates, as the health economic studies, they have this limitation, as there's no appropriate comparison group. They are not comparing someone to someone. The changes take a long period of time, and I'm afraid these studies were not conducted earlier. Also, there's a very large number of health outcomes caused by the climatic change, and they're increasing every day. So we have very limitations, and we hope studies are not correct, or not exactly correct, but I mean that not that bad. And we hope that the implementations they suggest are really effective and come into place. The health outcomes are multifactorial. This is why we cannot stratify or estimate separately for populations with clearly different baseline diseases, burdens, and vulnerabilities. Is everyone following? I'm afraid I know I speak too fast. So I'm gonna panel if climate change is too expensive to waste to fix. I think, or every study ever did till now proves that the outcomes are way costly more than mitigating or putting investing and costs in mitigating this problem now, not to face the bad or drastic outcomes in the future. Again, it means over 30 trillion every year are being spent in the United States, for example, on healthcare. And by some estimates, more than half of these deaths in the United States are preventable, because the deaths reported in the United States are largely because of pollution, diet, exercise, and wrong lifestyle habits, smoking, which further contribute to the air pollution. If we reduced air pollution, eating less meat, build exercises into our day, we could use the savings to invest in preventing the climate change. Moving on, I have some numbers of how
Hello, can you hear us, Dr. Fatina?
Hello?
I think you lost connection.
Hello?
You were saying
yes,
you have numbers?
Where did you lose me? Yes, I have numbers about the studies of health impact cost studies, health adaptation, but they're very long. Do I have time? I'm afraid I don't, right? Hello?
Yeah, is it just a few minutes? Go ahead, Dr. Bakina.
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay, so just adopting lifestyle habits and reducing. I suggest everyone must look this up. There are too many efforts and too many platforms. I can provide them upon request to learn more. How can we contribute further by individual lifestyle practices? Also, I may say that healthcare systems themselves have to be resilient on building the facilities to be to host sick people, the designing and all. Healthcare itself, like
Hello, Dr. Bakina. Hello, Dr. Bakina.
Okay, so I was just saying that healthcare systems or healthcare sector by far and most it contributes by 10% in the carbon emissions through maybe inefficient procurement, the overusage of tools, the scrubs, the gloves, and everything that's not recyclable. Also, by making too many tests and medical examinations and tools, they contribute largely endoscopy, for example, have this very major effect on carbon emissions. So this must be
Hello, Dr. Bakina.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Where did you lose me again?
Last thing I heard was about the
I cannot hear you.
facilities.
Yes, the healthcare facilities themselves, I said they contribute largely by 10% around the world in carbon emissions by the unnecessary medical tests, the inefficient procurement of gloves and medical supplies, also using high demand of energy or high this percentage of energy. So like 30% of its emissions are
Hello, Dr. Bakina. Can you hear me?
Do I have a problem with my connection? I don't know. Hello?
Yes, we hear you.
I was just for some of the medical facilities and the unnecessary tests. Telemedicine is very encouraged in too many parts of the world as it reduces the visits, it reduces the examinations done by the patients and advised by physicians. Also physicians and all other healthcare professionals, they can promote the idea of adopting a healthy lifestyle to decrease the diseases caused by stagnation and further prevent climate change action effects. I had so much more to say, but 20 minutes I think is not very long for me to go through everything. So I think that is it for today. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Bakina. Thank you
Yes,
very much
and
for your...
I can provide a detailed PDF for all the attendees, so they can go through this and never depend on only the material provided here. you can always search. There are too many initiatives raised by too many platforms for sustainable and environment-friendly solutions. People can like adopt healthy and environment-friendly attitude. Also invest as it is a very emerging sector, industrial, I mean, and everyone can come up with a solution that can be implemented and can be a source like of income to them and be big businessmen in the future, or maybe now or anywhere. So that was I enjoyed it very much, and I dearly apologize for being late and the poor connection. Is there any questions, or I'm open for questions?
Thank you very much, Dr. Baknam, for this fruitful presentation.
I wish
some problems.
I had too much more to say, but it will be all proven in the PDF. I'm gonna send you all to like go through and know more about this.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much for this presentation, and we can conclude that before we go through questions, we can say that there is still time to avoid the worst impact of climate change. Is it? If we take a strong action, there is still time to avoid the worst impact of climate change.
Yes. We can it is preventable, and it can be reversed to when if those measures are adopted. But it is a collaborative and collective work of all sectors. Of the community and the countries and the ministries and all authorities that they have to cooperate to make this work.
Yes, and then the climate change could have a very serious impact on growth and even development. This is
of course,
this one
mentally,
also.
Mentally, physically, yes, on too many aspects in the as for diseases, as for the shortage of food and crops. It will make insufficient food supply, which will definitely cause malnutrition that we already have in too many parts of the world. It will cause short status and small bodied kids and yes, too many things, and immunity problems, and make them susceptible to further infections and all.
And third conclusion, we can say that the cost of stabilizing the climate are significant but manageable. A delay would be dangerous and much more costly. The delay would be dangerous and much more
we'll never be able to contain the outcomes, the bad outcomes of this.
Yes, and then as you said, action on climate change is required across all countries.
Yes, of course. Yes, and the developed countries and big economy countries, they have the very most responsible role in this, as they're primarily were the major contributor in this. They have this responsibility over us. This is why they are supplying and offering too many initiatives and scholarships and donations and those incubators for businesses and all as a feel of or an action of responsibility.
And then lastly, last and not least, climate change demand an international response based on a shared understanding of long-term goals and agreement on frameworks for action, is it?
Yes, and the changing of policies, either external or internal. Yes,
exactly.
Definitely. Yes,
definitely. Thank you very much, Dr. Baknam, and then the floor